Hello, gems. Welcome to the VTuber Voices podcast. I'm your host, Syafire, and in this podcast, we talk about what it's like to be virtual and be a content creator, be a business owner, thriving in your own creative journey. In this season 3, we will be talking with Pren. Pren is a demon VTuber who often does variety streaming. She does art streams as well as plays games, and has a heavy emphasis of interacting with her audience and doing fun voice acting. In this episode, we will be talking about Pren's story. Pren started off doing face cam, and then she sort of shifted into no face cam, and then eventually she came around to become a VTuber. This had quite literally transformed Pren's life for her content and where she is going. She feels a lot more confident with where she is and who she is through being a VTuber. Her story is very inspiring and quite honestly a tearjerker, so hopefully you can find some value in Pren's story. Pren, would you like to introduce yourself to everyone here, and so you know a little bit about our audience? Our audience is a lot of people who are aspiring VTubers, planning on becoming VTubers, in the middle stages of kinda starting to become one, and also as well as people who are sort of pursuing either being a full-time streamer, content creator, or just starting to dip their toes as a hobbyist or career.
Yeah, okay, hi everybody, I'm Pren. I am a Twitch streamer. I've been streaming for about 5 years, but only started becoming a VTuber back in August of 2020, and I've never looked back.
You never looked back.
So much fun. I love being a VTuber so much. It's super amazing. I have a lot of fun doing it, and it's really helped my channel grow and become what it is today. And I wouldn't be where I am right now if I hadn't made that choice. So I'm super stoked to talk to everybody today. I think being a VTuber is awesome, and that everyone who wants to give it a shot should do it.
Yeah, so many people in our audience too are afraid, or they're not like really sure what to expect. So my next question for you is what helped you decide that, taking the direction of becoming a VTuber was going to be something that you wanted for your channel? Because I know you had started off as a facecam streamer, right?
Yeah, well, initially, way back in 2016, which feels so weird to say, but it's true. But yeah, back in 2016, I had started off with facecam because that's what the everyone did, right?
Yeah.
And I a lot of the time would get like gross comments about my appearance, people saying things that of course I won't repeat on a family-friendly stream about just very objectifying things about my body, essentially. And I was not really keen on that. I didn't like that sort of harassment. That wasn't great.
Yeah.
Nor does anybody, right? So I was like, you know what? I don't need a cam. I'm fine. I'll just yeet it out of here. I'll not have one.
Yeah.
And that was fine. I think streaming without a camera is completely legitimate. I think it's, incredibly, freeing a lot of the time, but did then lack my reactions. I am a very expressive person. I grew up doing theater. I naturally just make faces all the time. So
Yes.
That element was missing from my stream, I feel like, for a really long time. And then I met a couple of VTubers along the way during my streaming journey so far. Buff Pup and Lele as well, and they both
Pren is a
really
little
kind
low
and really encouraging when I talked about but what if I could be a VTuber? Is that even possible for me? And it turned out, yeah, of course. And I looked up tutorials on YouTube. I looked up a whole bunch of different stuff, different information on how do you get started? How do you do it? And it turned out it's not really that difficult to start. So with that, I didn't even know what a debut was. I didn't know anything about VTuber culture or any of that sort of stuff, but I debuted, I guess, back in August of 2020, and I've never looked back. People asked me, they're like, Pren, is this going to be something you do all the time? And I'm like, well, I don't know, maybe, because back in June, July of 2020, we did some charity streams for like Black Lives Matter causes, and one of the donation goals was Pren on Facecam, and people liked seeing me and they were happy to see me, and as much as I liked that incentive for people to, like give money to a good cause, it still made me really self-conscious.
Yeah.
I fiddled with my hair constantly, and yeah, the people that had made those same disparaging, like, ooh, sexy streamer comments before, like, and not in a nice way, not in
Yeah.
a congratulatory way, but just in a very objectifying, gross sort of way. Those sort of people came back, and I'm just like, I really hate that. I really hate that being somebody who, is like any sort of lady looking on the internet can bring upon that like nastiness,
Yeah.
And it's obviously, I'm not blaming myself, it's not my fault that people treated me that way, but any streamer who's any sort of, you appear feminine in any way to anybody, will get those comments.
Yeah.
And it sucks. But when you're a VTuber, I've said this before, there's this kind of like disconnect between the things that people say to you and the way you feel about it, because you're still you in a sense, but you're also the character. And so when people are just like, oh, anime mommy, ooh, I'm like, yeah, okay, cool. And it doesn't have that same sort of like yikes effect to it. Like it's still not okay for people to just randomly make very like charged comments like that at you. But at the same time, as the kids say nowadays, it hits different.
Yeah.
It feels not as gross personally, although it's the same kind of gross,
Yeah.
So that helped a lot as well. Being a VTuber made me feel a lot less self-conscious. It made me able to express myself the same way that I'd always wanted, and as it turned out, like my viewers really enjoyed it as well. Some of them thought it was a little weird at first. They're like, what are you doing?
Yeah, same.
This is weird. I don't know if I like it. And I'm like, well, I do. So I'm gonna keep doing it.
Yeah.
That's the same thing that people said when I got face tracking too. Like some people were like, Pren, what? This is a little bit uncanny valley.
Really?
And I'm like, really? Because I feel like it's less uncanny valley to me. Like I move more normally now. I move like, I have a few roommates that are just like, oh my god, Pren, oh whoa, oh my god, you move like, like an animated character from a movie, and I'm like, I know, right? That's pretty great. So I think it looks less scary to people who thought it was previously scary, which, some people have that reaction, and that's not really something they can control. It's just your mind going like, this is unnatural. You don't like this. But with face tracking, I feel that assuaged a lot of people's like feelings of that.
Yeah.
It brought it out more in some, and that's not their fault. I'm not trying to blame anybody. It's just kind of how it works sometimes. But either way, I love it. I think it's amazing. I love being a VTuber. It's given me so much more freedom as a content creator as well. Like, I wouldn't have made a TikTok if it hadn't been for VTubing. I wouldn't have, I wouldn't have done a lot of stuff if it hadn't been for VTubing. I wouldn't have made so many friends or been able to meet so many cool people so far. And, like I said, I guess, like, when it comes to people being, like, gross at you and saying like, inappropriate comments.
Yeah.
Saying inappropriate comments to you, in terms of your appearance and how they perceive that. It definitely, it happens a lot less. And when it does happen, it happens in such a way that mentally I can process it a lot better and have it not affect me as hard.
Yeah. Yeah, that totally makes sense. So you feel like becoming a VTuber overall helped your mental health with content creation?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, at the time when I was looking into VTubing, I was in a really rough spot with it. Not with VTubing, but with streaming in general, where I was at a loss, like, with where my stream was going. I remember I kind of hit a low point when I I was getting like so excited, like stoked about I was gonna play this game that I had played years and years ago when I was like a kid, and they'd made like a PC release for it. It originally had been like a PlayStation 2 game, and it wasn't my normal content, because my normal content at the time was mostly just Stardew, because that's what people like to watch, and that was what got me the most viewership. But I played that game, I was excited about it, I was doing all the voices, I was really stoked, and I had 15 average viewers. And for somebody that's been streaming 5 years and at the time averaged 75 on a night where I played my main game, that was a really tough blow.
Yeah.
Like, that hurt. And I was like, I more than anything just want to be able to do stuff that I want to do and still entertain people and have people still come to my stream. What can I do?
Yeah.
To be relevant again? What can I do to be entertaining? What can I do to like show more people like, no, this is worth watching. You should come see me. And it was really hard because I felt stuck, and I was like, is this just gonna be the rest of my stream? Am I just gonna keep on playing Stardew until like the rest of time? Is that it? Like, is that all I ever get to do anymore? And I love Stardew. Stardew Valley is a fantastic game. I recommend it to everybody. It is so much fun. And if you have it on PC, you can mod the heck out of it. Super, super fun.
Yes.
But I was so worried that that was all I would be able to do ever again. And I got partnered back in 2017, 11 months and a day from when I had started streaming. But I got partnered back in 2017 as an art streamer, and back then the requirements were different, and you only needed like 45 to 50 concurrent viewers for that sort of stuff. And then I felt kind of like an imposter because not to say that like my channel wasn't worth partnering or anything, but just simply because of the fact that they'd upped the requirements since. And I was like, well, would I be able to get partnered today if it wasn't for the fact that the requirements had been lower when I did?
Yeah.
And the only way that I could have done that was through just the consistent Stardew streams. And like I said, that to me as a creator that wants to do so much more was like mentally really rough on me.
Yeah.
Like, it was really, really rough. And I know that sounds, I hope that doesn't sound entitled. I hope that doesn't sound weird, because
No, it doesn't.
You are out there going like, well, I would be happy to just stream Stardew to people and make money, Pren, but I was struggling financially at the time too. There were so many aspects, and like I said, when I became a VTuber, it wasn't like overnight success.
Yeah.
It wasn't like immediately my channel was like, wow, VTuber money or whatever. But me putting all the work into being a VTuber, me putting the time into like kind of who and what I wanted to put forward as a VTuber.
Yeah.
And figuring out everything over time has kind of turned everything into, it's less about, like, it's still about my content, obviously. Everything's always about, like, the stuff you put out, but also it's now more centered around me, like, both the character and the person. And like I said, I started streaming 5 years ago. Pren and I are the same. Like, we are the same. I am Pren either way. I am Pren both on and off stream. This is my personality. This is who I am.
Yeah.
And that means a lot to me now that people can see, like, both who I am and what I'm like, and also see me be expressive and see me have fun.
Yeah.
Like, laugh with me now. And,
yeah.
It means so much that, like, more people have been able to find the stream through me being a VTuber and through that form of entertainment, that now I feel like I really made a good choice.
Yeah.
And, that I have viewers and an audience who really enjoy the things I do, even if they're different.
Yeah.
That makes a big difference to me. I don't want to get too emotional. I don't want to be like,
oh man, you got me tearing up already. What do you mean too emotional? Yo, you can't get tears on your spaghetti.
I know, I get crying into my spaghetti. Yeah, no, it really, really means a lot to have the community that I have and the people that have found me both through like Twitch.
What an incredible story from Pren. Pren, I'm so glad that you had found a avenue that works well for you, and I'm hoping everyone in our audience that's listening can find something that works for you. And you might try VTubing and that might not be it. I encourage you to keep finding and keep searching and looking for what really truly resonates with who you are and what you want to create. Thank you so much, and we will see you on the next episode of VTuber Voices, continuing our interview with Pren.